Start now, treat it like it's a business. You are the brand, and the services that you provide are the product, and they are specialized, and you are special. If you're someone thinking about becoming a paralegal, then I'm sure you've got a lot of questions. Where do you start? Who do you talk to? What area of law should you be looking at? Is this the right fit for you? And most importantly, what could you be doing now to jumpstart that career? What can you be doing now to be proactive about that career that you think you might want? So in today's video, I've got 3 questions for you. Questions that you can be asking yourself right now to find out the answer to those questions. Where do you fit into this crazy industry? Which area of law should you be looking at, and what can you be doing right now to help jumpstart that career? If this interests you, then you definitely want to stay tuned for this entire video. And I have a bonus for you at the end, so stay tuned until the end because we have a new program we are launching specifically for paralegals who are in those early stages of their career. And civil litigation is an area of law that you are looking at. But without further ado, let's get started on today's video. Thank you for coming back to my channel. And if you're new here, I'm Misty Murray. I'm a litigation paralegal. I'm the founder of Arrow Consultants, and I am the creator of the Microsoft 365 case management system. I'm also a paralegal coach and a freelance business coach. Yeah, I kind of do it all. But in today's video, I've got those 3 questions that you could be asking yourself right now to find out whether or not this is even the right fit for you. So let's get started with the first question. Question number 1, what lit your fire about becoming a paralegal? What was it about becoming a paralegal that really appealed to you? Because I'm about to get brutally honest. You have to have a reason for why you want to be part of this crazy legal industry. And I always call it that crazy legal industry because it kind of is. It's kind of crazy. It's always shifting. It's always moving. And you always have to be flexible and adapting to those shifts. So having said that, here are 2 things that you need to keep in mind. Here's the thing. Something has to light your fire about being a paralegal because frankly, this job is quite thankless. I mean, oftentimes we're in there being this fairy paralegal and making miracles happening, and we're getting the job done, and oftentimes we're not even thanked for it. We're not paid well for it. And so this job has to be a lot more than just about the money. And it has to be more than just about the money because it's hard. This job is really hard. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So I want you to really identify what is lighting your fire about being a paralegal. If it's just about the money, then you might want to rethink your decision because this career is a long-term thing and it's going to take you a while to get to that money, the money that you're probably thinking about. So it can't be just about the money. Identify something else that is lighting your fire about being a paralegal. Question number 1, get that answered first and foremost. All right, now let's move on to question number 2. Question number 2, what concerns you about being a paralegal? And that's something that you really have to identify because there are so many areas of law, and when you start to identify things like this, then you really start to understand where you belong. Case in point, do you really not like people? Are you not a people person? You don't want to interact with or talk to a whole heck of a lot of people? Well, if that is the case, then plaintiffs' firms probably aren't for you because paralegals and plaintiffs' firms tend to have a lot of client contact. Whereas in defense firms, the attorneys are having more of the contact with the client because they bill more for their time, and thus the firm wins due to, meeting with that client at a higher rate and gaining that money for the firm. Are you concerned about tech, which we'll get to in the coming videos? Are you concerned about flexibility? Are you concerned about pay? Are you concerned about, having to commute because all the work is in a big city and you're in a small town that needs to commute to that big city? Been there, done that. But you have to identify these things and take them all into consideration so that you can make very strategic decisions about being a paralegal. I mean, being a paralegal is, kind of like running a business. Again, I'll talk about that here in a minute. But when you start to make strategic decisions about where you want to go in this industry based on these questions that I'm giving you, then you're starting to think like an attorney. And that's what paralegals really have to do. We have to think like attorneys. We've always got to be 5 steps ahead. We're constantly mitigating, and that's a good thing and that's a bad thing. If you ask me, it's a really great thing. But if you go and ask my husband, it's probably not that great of a thing because I'm a lot less spontaneous than I used to be. So question number 1, what lit your fire? And question number 2, what concerns you about being a paralegal? All right, let's move on to question number 3. Question number 3 is, what are your strengths and weaknesses? I need you to identify those. Now, I'm talking about both soft skills and technical skills. And if you do not know the difference between that, then I want you to check out this video right up here because it talks about identifying those specifically for the resume. Now, when I'm talking about those technical skills, let's talk about typing first. Are you someone who is typing under 60, 70, 75 words a minute? If you are, then you need to get on typingtest.com and you need to work on those typing skills. I'm not sponsored by typingtest.com. I'm not an affiliate or anything like that. Something else that you could do completely on your own, and I've actually done this, and I think that it increased my typing speed, and that is that you can dictate to your phone. Now, I actually didn't dictate to my phone. I dictated to something else because it's quite a few years ago. But you can actually dictate to your phone and play it back and be typing it on your computer. And I guarantee you that if you do that for like half an hour, twice a day, then you will see an increase in that typing speed. But that's up to you. You've got to be proactive about it. You do need to indicate on your resume what your typing speed is. That is a technical skills, and attorneys want to know that because it plays into your efficiency, your productivity, your speed, and your ability to, get through those sort of tasks that require a lot of typing. So you've really got to get that speed up to about 75 words per minute. And if you're typing under that, that's a technical weakness. So identify that as part of answering this question. And then moving beyond that, what are some of your other technical weaknesses? I mean, software that is heavily used in this industry is Word, Excel, Adobe Acrobat Pro, just huge, enormous, Adobe Acrobat Pro. Start to identify those sort of technical weaknesses, and you got to take it upon yourself to raise that game. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute. So aside from those weaknesses, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't identify your strengths. Identify those strengths because those strengths, you need to become experts in those particular areas and just kind of really hone upon those skills and strengthen them even further and truly become an expert, so much so that you can really help train other people. So there you have it. Those are all 3 questions. Number 1, what lit your fire? It's got to be more than just about the money. This job is just too hard for that. It's too thankless for that. You got to kind of have a cause behind this. What lit your fire? Question number 2, what concerns you about being a paralegal? You need to identify that ahead of time so that you're not surprised by anything later on. Now, don't get me wrong, you will be surprised about things later on. I mean, I'm still surprised about things that happen. So question number 3, though, is identify those strengths and weaknesses, both technical and soft. And I think that once you start to answer these 3 questions, then you can start to identify where you belong in this crazy legal industry. So answering these questions should help you out. Now, let's move on to what you can do now to help jumpstart the career that you want. Some of these tips I know that you've heard, and I'm probably beating a dead horse on this very first one, but it is you gotta get out there and network. You gotta get out there and connect with like-minded people, because a lot of the times in this industry, and I hate to say it, but it's not about what is necessarily on that piece of paper or what's on the screen in front of them. Sometimes it's a lot about who you know. So it's really important that you network and connect with like-minded people in this industry. The next tip is to get out there and consume as much as you can about the areas of law that interest you the most. Now, you answered those 3 questions ahead of time in the beginning of this video. Now it's time to do something about the answers that you got to those questions. Did you identify areas of law that light your fire? If so, get out there and start consuming as much as you can. Now, there are a lot of paralegal coaches out there. Find one in your state or around your area, and find one that is in the area of law that interests you the most. Are they in criminal? Are they in civil litigation? Stay tuned for more information on that if that is your area that you are liking. So you have to really kind of take it upon yourself to get out there and consume the information for the areas of law that interest you. I mean, you might get a little exposure to them in school, and you might have a specialized class on certain areas, but you really get most of your exposure to it on the job. But if you talk to coaches and you talk to mentors and you get in Facebook groups and you get on Clubhouse and you get on LinkedIn and you start connecting with like-minded people, then you can get sort of a better feel for that area of law and decide for yourself whether or not it is truly the right fit for you. My next tip, again, no-brainer, raise that tech game as much as you possibly can, especially now. I mean, we are living in a pandemic and everybody had to shift to digital environments, whether that be choice or not. They were forced to. And a lot of us were forced to pivot and raise that tech game a little bit further and raise our knowledge with, security protocols and how to work Zoom so we don't look like a cat. But you've got to raise that tech game and you've got to take it upon yourself to go and do that. Word, Excel, even PowerPoint. I mean, if you are in litigation and you want to be a person that's in the hot seat, we'll talk about that in videos to come, then you got to raise that tech game. You're going to want PowerPoint. You're going to want Trial Director. I mean, there are a lot of programs that you can go and use to raise that trial game. But right now, trial is kind of weird because nobody's having these trials that I'm aware of. I'm not. Having said that, though, focus on the law firm tech that you're going to use on a day-to-day basis. So Word, Excel, Microsoft 365, any sort of cloud computing, digital signature programs. There's a lot of information out there that you can consume on Facebook groups and in my club, in my Paralegal Boss Club. And we're gonna talk about technical stuff and what I'm gonna announce later on in this video, but it's your job to raise your technical game. So you gotta get out there and do that. So my last tip is treat your career like it is a business, okay? You've really gotta do that. Start now, treat it like it's a business. You are the brand, and the services that you provide are the product, and they are specialized, and you are special. So treat your career like it's a business. And I'll talk further about that in videos to come. So those are my tips for today. You got your 3 questions and things that you can do to help with those questions and transform the information that you got from answering those questions and make things happen in your career/business. So I said that I had some exciting news and a new product that I am launching, and enrollment starts for that product on March 8th. I am hosting a civil litigation boss workshop. Now we're going to talk all about that litigation process. And this is a 3-month long workshop. It's truly in depth for those early professionals who really want to take a deeper dive into the civil litigation process. Now, we are doing this through a new sort of club that we're opening called the Paralegal Boss Academy. And the mission of the Paralegal Boss Academy is to bridge that gap between college and law firm. Let's face it, there's this huge gap. We all know it. It exists. We've talked about it. Now it's time to change the narrative. We've got to bridge the gap. There is a lot of us out there, a lot of us paralegal entrepreneurs out there who are moving and shaking in this industry to make that happen and to bridge that gap. This workshop is one of them. So if you are interested in this workshop, I'm going to leave a link in the description box below. Enrollment for this workshop starts on Monday, March 8th, and we begin the classes in early April. So I've got a lot of information on this. You can check it out on my website at arrowconsultants.solutions. We're going to have 6 live lessons with Q&As. We're going to have 3 one-hour session individual coaching opportunities with it. We're going to conduct Friday night live Zoom chats where we're going to have guided discussions about certain topics that we really need to be talking about in this legal industry. And I really want to help you along in this crazy legal industry, in this process of becoming a paralegal and growing as a paralegal. So I've got this 3-month-long workshop that I've been working on for a while. We're going to launch this workshop, and I'm so happy to be working with all of you who enroll in this workshop. We are going in depth. You're going to have much more access, one-on-one access to me. There's going to be a private Facebook group, lots going on in that workshop. So we're truly happy to be bringing that. Check out the links below in the description box for more information. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and click that bell notification to receive a notification of each time I post a video on here. As always, good luck to you and all that you do, because this crazy legal industry needs a paralegal boss just like you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, an amazing weekend ahead of you, and I'll see you guys back here on the next one. Bye, guys. Mwah. No. No. Oh, I'm recording right now. Holy hell. Okay.